is Alan Warfield, and I'm conducting a short interview with Mr. Darren Smith about air quality and air pollution here in Texas and across the globe.
How y'all doing? It's Darren Smith. Known as All the Silence, I'm here to answer a few questions about climate change and what the environment has done to people's life or what people's habits have done to the environment.
All right, sir. Thank you for being with me today. What do you think of the air quality here?
I think the air quality is sustainable. We're still breathing, but it is nowhere similar to what it used to be. We used to actually breathe fresh, clean air before the invention of companies and Fortune 500 companies and their use of natural resources that deter our living as human beings.
Okay. What do you know about air pollution? Or have you heard of smog?
Absolutely. I've heard of smog. I've heard of every industrial or chemical cause that will negatively affect human beings. Cars, the moment you start up your vehicle, it lets off natural emissions, gas emissions, things in the air that put chemicals in the air that won't affect us here today, but down the line they will.
Do you think of how it affects your health today?
Absolutely. Look at China.
Oh wow, yeah.
Look at China. There's a couple of times that China were on any news outlet that you watch, no matter if it's Fox or CNN or whatever that you watch. It was pretty cut and dry. They had explosions from chemical plants, and they actually gave infrared vision of the air after these chemical plants exploded. These guys are breathing in green toxins, just breathing them in. It's the same thing as back in the 60s and 70s when they instituted the smoking and non-smoking. Back in the day, you go get pancakes, you would breathe in smoke constantly. That's why the direct correlation to cancer was so much higher from the 50s to the 80s because of the institution of chemicals in the air.
Do you think of the air pollution as you smoking someone else's cigarette?
I think it's that times 10. I think smoking cigarettes, you can see. You can physically see someone next to you smoking a cigarette or smelling it. There are so many natural chemicals that are let off into the environment from everyday things that we do, whether it's alcohol. We don't know the things that are put into alcohol, cigarettes, burning of chemicals, gas, oil, all of these things burning into the world. It could be basically you're cleaning a house and you set off ammonia. You accidentally let off a gallon tank of ammonia into the air. That's going to negatively affect someone's breathing down the line. Mold, let's use this as a simple term. Let's dumb it down for everyone. Mold. You may see it. It may be there for a while and you may not see it, but the same effect that it has on a person comes down the line. It has to get into your system and actually spread and affect you. Same thing with the air. That's why when you're in mountains, you have a higher altitude, you breathe differently. Same thing with chemicals. After chemicals form after an amount of time, you start to take that effect.
Exactly. So you talked about the transportation issue. Would you be willing to sacrifice some of your comforts in life, as far as drive through windows and driving everywhere versus walking or cycling in order to clean up the environment?
Absolutely. History has shown us that is a sustainable market in the world. Bicycles. Look at England, look at France. Look at San Francisco right now. San Francisco has one of the biggest bicycle markets in the world. Why can't we do it? What happened to the times when we were walking everywhere? Where our main transportation, maybe we were getting on the bus, but you still had to walk everywhere else. I think the way we're growing as a society and the way that numbers are going up and not down, we have to start accounting for those things, or the world will account for it itself. Because again, the world is constructed of things that we ourselves as human beings cannot replicate. Therefore, the world does not need us to sustain itself. It is one big, huge debacle that we do not still understand, because again, we haven't discovered 80% of the space, haven't discovered 80% of the ocean. So there are things that we don't understand, but what we can control are our everyday habits and the things that we are using and the amount in which we're using them.
Okay, final question, and this is related to your community, maybe the place you work. Have you heard of any new initiatives that people have put in place to try to clean up their environment?
Yes and no. There have been efforts. Let's use this metaphorically. You have a business, a Fortune 500 CEO company. You have this huge wave of climate change and global warming going on in the world, and you have outside pressure to do something, anything, within your company to make it seem like you're changing things. So yes, the grand schmo of what we always do, let's go green, let's save paper, those things are always going to be said and done. But no one's going from lead to something more sustainable, like plastic or something like that, or even anything besides the cheap lead. I don't see any Fortune 500 CEO company making any different type of trade embargo laws or any type of laws that they're importing or any type of material changes in their structure. I don't see anyone doing anything that's actually going to directly change climate change, except for people that are going from natural gas to solar. It's theoretically not logic, if you want to use logistics, to drill holes in the world that you do not know that you're affecting. The sun, we haven't touched the sun, been on the sun, but we know the sun gives us natural causes. It gives us natural resources. Why are we not using solar? We have to drill to get oil. We have to use the sun and allow the world to work as it works in order to get this. So I think the world is run off of the value of a dollar. And since you make money off of oil and natural resources like wind and the sun aren't really as profitable as something that I can make as a man, opposed to something that's there for us to use. So to answer your question again, yes, there are minor things being done that may slow down what's coming, but it's not going to affect change. And I think when everybody wakes up and sees that we had 6 Category 3 storms, 4 Category 5 storms that happened within a month's time on different geographical places on the map. That has to open your eyes. Yes, the world works in certain ways. Yes, storms and rainstorms come and hurricanes, and that's natural. But the frequency of how those things are happening are caused by our habits, like throwing plastic and water and oil in the ocean, a place that we haven't even discovered 80% of or 20% of. We'll throw oil, trash, and things, pollute it, disrupt the fish, the sharks, the things, the algae that give us other natural resources that we don't even know yet. We'll affect that because of the value of a dollar and what it'll give us now. But we won't change our everyday habits for effects that will affect our children and our children's children. We're just caring about how we live now because it's nice to do that. We should be able to give up cars for bicycles. We should be able to give up dumping oil in places for dusting off solar panels. We have to come to realization that money isn't everything, but it all goes back to the way that the world was founded and ran off of a dollar. So until we change that, none of these things are going to matter. So,
well, sir, that's all my questions for today. I'd like to thank you for speaking with me.
No problem.
And have a blessed evening.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for watching. Special thanks to Mr. Smith for his participation.